The recording has started.
Let's do this.
Many Bothans lost their lives, it's true, to bring the news across the galactic view. From the outer rim to the core sphere's light, tune in this week and hold on tight.
Hello, this is Jonathan Fisher, and you're listening to episode 10 of Across the Network, recorded May 9th and released May 28th. This is the last episode I recorded as part of the Bothan Network. I've chosen to step away for creative freedom, but continue to fully support all the Bothans. In this episode, Lego Pizza and I are joined by a member of the Bothan Network, Alex, from the European team, the European Bothan team. Alex piloted Anakin Blue all the way to Top Cut in Lille, and we dig into what makes the deck tick and Alex's experience in Lille. I do not know how to say that word. Enjoy the show. Welcome to episode 10 of Across the Network. I'm Jonathan Fisher. I'm here with Lego Pizza and Alex. How you doing, Ian?
What is up? Super excited to be here. Super excited to have our first European Bothan on the podcast. Alex, also known as Diyifei on Discord, and I don't know if that's his melee name, but people around probably know him as Diyifei. So, Alex, how are you doing, man?
I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, so hello everyone. I come from France. Su is my first TCG. Before to that, I just played a little of Magic, but it was casual. It was more for collectioning cards and testing stuff. But I didn't made any tournaments in Magic. So I began Su in set 1, but it was very casually. I just did some weekly at my local store, and then in set 2 I tried to try hard more, playing a lot on Carabast, and I just made one big competition. It was a PQ at the end of set 2, so it was a great experience. And after that, in set 3 I made a lot of PQ. I won one PQ. I made 2 finals and 1 top 4. And in set 4, I went to the Milan sector qualifier. I made day 2 and finished in the 26th place.
Yeah.
And finally,
Go ahead.
And yeah. And finally, last weekend, I went to the Lille, the first regional qualifier of Su, the biggest event in the world yet.
Yeah, 800
and,
some players, crazy.
Yeah, and I managed to make 5th place, so I'm really happy about that, and looking forward for the next tournaments where I can perform. I hope and.
Well, it seems like every time you go to a tournament that's bigger than the last one, you just do better than you did at the last event, man. That's
Always
crazy.
Better.
Yeah.
This is your first TCG.
Yes.
What did you do before? You play very well, so it makes me wonder, if you had other hobbies, like maybe chess or something like that. Do you think you're drawing from your experience somewhere else to be good at TCGs?
I think it's the triad part. I played a lot of video games that were more strategic, and it's independent video games on the computer, like Slay the Spire, which has a deck building part, and some board games too, like Dune and everything. So all this experience and my mentality of triad, I think, helped me a lot to get the rule of Su that are very dynamic, like action and action. And I really love this part of the game. It's really fun and enjoyable when you play. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
definitely my favorite part as well, the action sequencing and trying to navigate some tough things when your opponent holds up some unit that you know can kill the unit that you want to play, and you got to think about, oh, should I pass here? Are they going to claim? Am I going to like not use my resources? It's so in depth. I love that, and I'm sure that that happens all the time as you playing Anakin, where you just hold up something and threaten the activation of Anakin, and really just hold their resources hostage.
yeah. Yes, that happens a lot with An1, for example. Like, if you manage to have a 4 power unit, he can flip safely. So it's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, threat of activation is what we call that in Magic. I mean, I'm sure we call it that all over the place, but it just having this threat of activation on the table is a powerful thing to have. And in Star Wars, that leader is there all the time. Like, he doesn't go away
Yep.
until you flip him and he dies, and then he comes right back. That I love it too. I love the taking turns on actions and the fact that we have these game pieces that we start the game with and we can build around it, build our strategies around it. So you joined Bothan Network as one of our, European members. We have 4 members of our European team. It started with Junior. We met Junior on our server, on our Discord server, because he was just constantly looking for games. This guy plays a lot of Star Wars, and we were so excited to have him on our team, right? Like, he's a great player. He's a young mind in the game. It's exciting to like help people like that grow into what we know they can become in a game like this. And we wanted to support him, right? Like, to have more teammates that were in his time zone, that was going to events that he's going to. So yeah, so Junior was our first European member. Then we added Buku. And then you were invited to join. So, I'd love to hear what that experience was like joining the Bothan Network as part of a much smaller European group that we want to grow, but, it was small when you joined it. So how's that been for you?
Yeah, but first of all, I will explain how I learned about the Bothan networks. So in set 2, I managed to meet some member of the team, like you, Jonathan, and Chris and Ryan from Rebel Resource. So that was my first interaction with the Bothan network, and it was really enjoyable. Like, we played on a server in Discord to play games in ranked game in Karabast. So that's how I first meet the Bothan network. And then, yeah, I saw that Junior, which is a famous player in France, joined the Bothan network. And after that, I met in the final of a PQ with Junior, and
Nice.
he beat me. And on another PQ,
Happens to a lot
I
of us.
met
That happens to a lot of us. It's okay.
and another PQ, I met him once again in the top 4, and he beat me again. And then after that, he proposed me to join the Bothan network, and I was really happy about it because I didn't have a team at this time, and in Europe there was not a lot of team being created, so it was really a good opportunity to play against other teammates. And I think joining a US-based team is also good for us European, because in the US it's a really different meta. So maybe like if we can combine the European style and the US style, we can achieve a really high level of gameplay. So that's
That
what
was our thought for the European team for, prepping for Worlds, because we know there's going to be a lot of Europeans that are going to travel to Worlds, and, it's not going to be a tournament that anyone has ever played in before, because we're getting so many different players from different regions that haven't really gotten to play high level tournaments with each other before. So I think the meta is going to look not like anything we've seen before. I mean, we don't know anything about set 5 really, except for a couple cards. But even outside of that, like the normal, oh, Europeans love control, Americans love aggro, like that might not happen at Worlds, right? Because it's going to be so many different people from different regions playing. So it'll be really interesting, and that melting pot, I think, on our team is helpful for us.
Yeah, another thing
absolutely.
we considered, as we talked about, like whether to create a European team, because there was a big long discussion about that inside Bothan Network in our internal discussions, and like one of the things that I was thinking about, and I think others as well, the biggest, most major events around the world, they won't be happening at the same time, right? Like sometimes they'll be in Europe, sometimes they'll be in the US, and so like these regionals, these sectors, if we have people in these different parts of the world, and I work in tech, so I'm used to working with people all over the world. This is kind of what we do. We do like follow the sun kind of thing. We can work together to prepare for those major tournaments. So when the Europeans have a major tournament that they're going to be playing in, the US folks will not have a major tournament that they're playing in that upcoming weekend. So we can fully focus on what can we do for you guys, for the European team, to help you practice and get ready. Like, what do you need? Tell us, and let's make it happen. We can give you priority in our practice sessions because you have a major tournament coming up, and then we give the US folks priority because they have a major tournament coming up, and we can really support each other like that.
Yeah, it's really great thinking like that, and also one of the big plus of joining the Bothan network is that, like I said, I'm new to TCG, and I know that in the Bothan network there was a lot of experienced players that played other games before, like Magic and this kind of thing. Like George Hulk is really an expert at deck building. So I think this is an area where I'm lacking. So it's also really great to be part of the team in that aspect.
Yeah, Ian, what's your take on that? Because I think that's true for a lot of groups and teams in TCGs, like throughout history. And you usually have like a couple players that are really good at that, and you have a couple players that are really good pilots. Like, you don't need everybody to be good at deck building.
Yeah, no, you don't. You just need one hulking man with a vision that no one else has, and that is what the Bothan network has. No, yeah, I think that's a good point, because like I mean, I think just being able to self-reflect and know that that's like a weakness that you have, Alex, and wanting to join a team that can help you, even if it's not helping you develop those skills yourself, but just helping you in terms of like you kind of have that check marked off in terms of like preparation. Like, that there's going to be people that are building really good decks, and if they find some crazy thing, you can like start learning it from the ground up before everybody else. Is like a really like that. I feel like that's hard to even realize if you haven't played TCGs before. So like that's impressive to me that like you were able to self understand like introspection in terms of like things that you've had your performances in set 2 and 3, and had won a PQ already, but like there was still like you knew that the bigger tournaments were coming up, and like how could you gain edges to try to compete at that level when you don't have maybe some of the experiences that other Europeans who've played other card games have. And I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really like to think about our listeners in these kind of conversations as well. Like when we're getting into our team structure and what we do as a team, how can people take those ideas and use them in their own way, in their own time? Like, we can't recruit everyone into the Bothan network. We have several thousand members, but not everyone can join. So what can you do with your own friends or groups, or how can you connect with people? And a lot of the stories that I hear are like about playing online, meeting people, interacting with them. Don't just ignore your opponent. Say hi, get to know them. Especially if you have a good match, try to have another match with them and start like building up connections with people that you've had good experiences with. And these things that you hear us talk about that we've done as a team with Bothan Network, do that in your own social groups. You do not need to be on some structured, organized team like this to use these ideas on your own time. All right, so Ian, you have a hot take for us this week?
I do. And I think a lot of people are going to be upset at this one. So brace yourselves. But Data Vault sucks, guys. It sucks. I just don't get it, dude. I don't understand. I like every single time I play one of these Data Vault decks, I'm like, okay, I just need to draw this card. And then of course I don't draw it because I have a 60 card deck. And it's just like I'm flabbergasted. I don't understand why we have like the most played deck or the most played base is Data Vault right now. It's crazy.
That's interesting. I have some thoughts, but Alex, I know that you were on Colossus for a bit and you moved back to 30 HP. So like, how does that decision relate to Ian saying Data Vault sucks? Like that you chose not to take that 5 HP. So here we would be choosing not to take 3 HP. Like what's your take on this?
But about Colossus, I tried it with Anakin. There is a lot of card draw engine like Stila, Yoda, and some Smuggle too. So after the turn 3 or 4, like the cost of one card choosing Colossus is over, because like you have 5 card in hand. So that's not the problem for me. The problem is that you start with 3 card in hand, and for consistency, it's really bad. Because like if you have a Luke in your 5 starting hand, like you can keep it, because like you need to plan your next turns, and keeping a 7 cost card all the game, like it will be too much. And for the consistency, I went back to the 30 HP base. And also it can like when you do that, you have to have some slot in your deck list for the draw to neglect the effect of Colossus. And all these reasons made that I went back to the 30 HP base, which was and Colossus also was only useful against aggro. And so I preferred, like in a large scale tournament where you will be facing a lot of different decks, to be more consistent and to not only focus one deck archetype.
Interesting. So Colossus, we are sacrificing quantity for some HP on our base. Data Vault, we're sacrificing quality for some HP on our base. And then in what you just mentioned about Colossus, it sounds like you're looking at that last hand slot as like a sandbag slot, like a reserved slot for later in the game. If I don't have that hand slot, I can't afford to keep a late game card in my hand like I want to. That's critical in this at a point in time in this matchup. It might be turn 4, 5, 6, whatever. It might not be Luke. It might be, I really need this 4-drop in this matchup. It's very good. But in order to have a good first turn, second turn, third turn, you've got to keep these 3 cards in your hand. So you don't have that sandbag slot. And then in Data Vault, you're not, Ian, I heard you talk about thinking about your top decks, like thinking about your outs, and realizing like, oh, this is my out, I can't draw it, or I'm going to have a much lower chance of drawing it. So what I've noticed in Data Vault is that it's important, the deck you're playing needs to have redundancy in those like critical top deck type cards, the cards that are really critical for your lines. You need another card that's functionally equivalent to those key pieces to your lines. And if you can do that,
that doesn't exist for some decks though, right? Or for some cards. Like I'm flabbergasted that like people are like, oh no, it's fine, we get to play 3 super laser blasting Kira now. Because like previously, a lot of these cure decks would play like one, maybe only in the sideboard Super Laser Blast, and now they're like, oh no, it's fine. We just get to play 3 Super Laser Blasts in the main, so we're actually more consistent than the other versions. It's like, no, just play 3 Super Laser Blasts in the 30 HP version. You can just do that. It's allowed. Like I don't get it. There's no replacement for that card, especially at that resource cost. Like the closest thing you have is either Nebula Ignition, which costs 1 extra resource and doesn't always kill everything because if it has an upgrade on it, it doesn't die. And then there's the Invasion of Christophsis, which is like a 15 cost card, but you can reduce it by sacking your own things, which like the cure deck sometimes doesn't have the option to do. So
if you're playing less than one of a card, when it comes to redundancy, the redundant option is the same card.
Well, right, but my point is that just play the 3 copies of it in the 30 HP version. Like if you're thinking that, oh well, right now Super Laser Blast is really well positioned, well then just make sure that you can play it on curve every time. Just be more consistent.
But you're talking about an 8 cost card. I mean, it's so easy to draw into it. I think isn't it more the early cards that are a problem, or like the really?
I get it, but when I tell you that there are some times where the Kira deck just loses on the spot if they don't have Super Laser Blast on 8, and if they just don't draw it, they don't draw it, and you're like, what is it, 10% less likely to draw it? Like, and one of the other things too is Alex was just mentioning, like these large scale tournaments, you want to be consistent because you have 12 rounds to play before Top Cut. How many times are you going to play in your Data Vault deck in those 12 rounds where like you mulligan into no turn 1 play because your ratios were bad, or you just needed a card on curve and you didn't get it? Certain matchups, like you want to board in Confiscate. Now your sideboard slots are just way worse because you're boarding in cards to a 60 card deck instead of a 50 card deck.
That's a very good point. That's like contextual cards that you really want to have at certain points in time. Your sideboard slots, if they're contextual and you need them at a point in time, that point in time better be a little later in the game because you're probably not going to have a good chance of having it those first 2 turns.
Yeah, I also think that like I might be Han pilled still because like Han was such a consistent deck because you had Smuggle and you could tech out stuff, and even if you resource stuff early, you could get them later. So like I've played so many games in this game that allowed me to not get punished for early resources. But one of the things that makes it really hard to do when you're playing a Data Vault deck is, let's say you draw a card that like, you can't play for a couple turns, but that it'll be really impactful, but you have to decide if you're going to resource that versus something you can play in the earlier turns. And you can't really bank on you drawing a second copy of that card, right? So a lot of times, like, one of the things that I would do when I'm playing Han is, like, I'll just resource the first surprise strike I ever see. Every single time I would resource the first surprise strike because I knew that I would either eventually draw into it or I would eventually, like, play a tech and allow me to play it out of my row or whatever, right? And I'm playing a 30-card deck or a 30 HP base, so I have a 50-card deck. It's pretty consistent. I wasn't worried about it. Now you kind of have to second guess those type of resourcing decisions. Like if you're playing Sabine Data Vault, are you going to resource a Wrecker in your opening hand? Like what's the chances that you're going to be able to find another one? And in certain matchups, like that card's probably really important. So now you're making your curve worse because you're trying to sandbag some 6 cost card in your opening hand.
We have 8 more health than your opponent.
Well, you only have 8 more health than your opponent if they're playing a 25 HP base. You have 3 more health than most of your opponents.
Yeah.
But I think for control decks, like it can be a good idea because these 3 HP like can make the situation where you will have to claim early because the opponent had lethal, and with these 3 HP, like you can play your card and not to be in lethal range. So I think that maybe with control decks like Data Vault is a good idea for these 3 HP. But in the aggro deck like Sabine, like the winner in Lille, it's a bit controversial, but it worked for him. But
I love it.
It's not. It's counterintuitive. Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah, I don't know.
glad a Data Vault
I get the
Sabine won.
concept that you're talking about, Alex, but like at the end of the day, I don't even think that 3 HP helps against the Sabine matchup for those decks. Like I think Kira Data Vault is still a dog to Sabine. I mean, maybe some of these other decks like Han 2, Data Vault, where you're going bigger than the traditional like Han 2 ECL decks, and you just like have a bunch of good threats always. You don't really care which one it is. Like I think those decks, it makes a little bit of sense. It also those decks, it helps you against the mill plan. Like I get the mill plan for against like hard control decks or even some of the blue green villain that plays a lot of vigilances and tries to kill you sometimes that way. Like it does help in those games. Um, but I don't even think we're at a point yet where like we're in fatigue mirrors that much. Like I guess if we're playing Cure Data Vault versus another Cure Data Vault, whoever has a restock game one is probably gonna do better than the other person. But at the end of the day, like no one should be playing these decks at that much that you have to main deck for the mirror. I I don't know. It's crazy. I think I'm alone on the hill here, and that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I think mathematically, I think you're actually wrong, and it's counterintuitive, and that's why it's so hard to figure out. But Yohasera and myself would agree that we think you're wrong on this one. Adding a few extra cards is not going to kill your tournament run across 12. There's just extra work to do. You have to put the work in. You can't just throw any 10 cards in. You got to figure it out. You got to do the math. But it is possible. It's a deck building challenge, and you can build successful decks, and you can take advantage of that point in time where you are in check that Alex is talking about. Like that is the benefit these bases give you, is pushing that check moment. So you get one more action to play a card and get out of that situation, recover, reach your inflection point, and take over the game.
Sometimes, unless you took extra damage because you didn't have the correct removal because your deck's inconsistent. All right.
We'll see.
I'll leave it at
that. Yeah. But it's also still a game where you draw a lot. Like you draw at least 2 cards per turn. So maybe you have more odds to find the card you need, even in a 60 card deck. But yeah.
No, you draw 2 cards when you're playing a 30 HP deck too.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate you bringing hot takes we don't agree on. That's great. I love it. So the reason we have Alex on, and let's just say we're so excited to have one of our EU teammates on the podcast.
Yeah.
I love it. So this isn't the only reason, but you just did incredibly well at the largest SWU tournament to date. Tell us about the deck you brought.
Yeah, first of all, I'm really happy with my performance. Like the tickets for Vegas was the goal this time.
Do you get that for Top Cut?
Yeah, in the regional, it's top 8 that gets the flight to Vegas. Yeah. Okay, so my deck in the tournament was Anakin Blue. So I already explained why I'm not on the Colossus base. And I choose this deck because I'm very comfortable with it. I played only that in set 3 in all the tournaments I made. So I'm pretty familiar with the deck. And I think it has a lot of answer to all the archetypes. Like it's known that Anakin can do well into Sabine because like you have the Restore to help you stabilize. You have the Luke in the late game. You can do positive trades in the early games with Anakin leader ability. So yeah, the goal is to have the board control, and into aggro, I think Anakin is a good option. And yeah, one thing I forgot to mention is like against aggro deck, like when you flip Anakin, you will be like at 15 or 20 damage on base, And at this time, if you manage like to have a clean board, you have a lot of unit and the opponent don't, you can race him before he do with Anakin, because he will be at like 7 power, and it's really great. So that's for
the 7 power Anakin, I felt like was always that breaking point against those matchups. It's like you really want to be able to chunk them with Anakin, because that's like most of your win con in that matchup, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's for the aggro matchup. For the mid range, like you don't really care about taking damage on base. Like it's not as important that has in aggro. But you can. What the best thing with Anakin is like you can do positive trade, and one card you will play will make the opponent use 2 cards. So it's really a big advantage using Anakin, and that's why I think it's really good position into a mid range. And finally, the control matchup can be more tricky. Like I think you need to have experience to fare well into this kind of matchup, but it's really doable, I think. Maybe later I will explain more about like some common matchup like the Kira Data Vault deck, how to navigate the line to win this matchup.
Yeah, I'm generally happy to see Anakin across from me as a Palpatine player. Like I'm usually like, okay, yeah, I can handle this.
Palpatine is really a bad matchup.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
You have some cards that I'm really interested in that I want to get into a little bit. I'll just name a couple, and then Ian, I'm sure you have some too. I'll name the ones that I am most passionate about, and that's Regional Governor and Entrenched. I love these cards. I really love that even your third Entrenched in the sideboard. For me, Regional Governor is good in every single matchup. The only time I'm boarding it out is when my opponent is playing a rogue deck that I didn't have enough time to learn about in game 1. Then they might come out, and then right back in game 3. In your deck, being able to take out 3 toughness units with your 1/4s, and you got all these 1/4s here on the ground, is amazing. And Entrenched, I have found to be incredible for both putting on my own units to bully that arena and shutting down piloted units. And then your leader has Overwhelm. So, hey, maybe sometimes we're entrenching the leader to kill them. What are your thoughts on these 2 cards? Regional Governor, Entrenched. I freaking love these cards.
Yeah, I mean, Regional is really great, especially if you have initiative. For instance, like in the Ungreen, N1 green matchup, like you can give initiative to the opponent, then he will ramp with an ability, and then you play Regional Governor and you say Falcon, because N1 green has maybe 8 copy of Falcon in the deck. So it can really bring a big advantage in the early game if you manage to pick the right card. And also, like against Sabine, Regional Governor being 1/4 means that if opponent plays a grand unit, you will be able to kill it, and Regional Governor will leave. So if you have initiative, you can name space unit, like Sabine plays Phoenix Squadron A-Wing and Green Squadron A-Wing. So you can pick one of the 2. I usually pick Green Squadron A-Wing because it's more difficult to kill. And I had one match, like I said, Green A-Wing, opponent had only this, so he didn't play first turn. But yeah, this kind of moment are pretty rare, but it can still happen. But yeah, and that's for Anne Green and Sabine, and against control, like Villainy control. If you manage to hold the governor in hand and like you play it last action of the 7 resource turn, and saying Super Laser Blast, it can do so much damage because like the opponent will have playing everything to play Super Laser Blast on the 8 resource turn. And so if you manage to play Regional Governor at this time, like it will be such a blowout because he will need to kill the governor, but maybe like in his hand he had only like a Super Laser Blast and to deal with the board. So he can do anything, and it can flip the game. Like it's really a powerful card.
Yeah. That's how I use it against like hard control, boss blue and stuff. I feel like I can't lose when I have the governor in hand against those decks. Like, what are you guys gonna do? You're dead. Ian, anything jump out to you here?
Yeah, dude, you got 12 2-ofs and 5 1-ofs. I need info on this toolbox deck, dude. How did you come up with these numbers?
Yeah, but maybe that's the part where I'm not enough experienced in TCG, but this worked for me. Like, I mean, tech, it can be a one-off, like you put it in the resource and you can play it later. And in this deck, there are a lot of tactics on 12. And like the idea behind that is that if I play Stila, I can pick the one I want. So that's the idea behind having a lot of 12. And if you look closely, like almost all the 12 are tactics. Not all the cards, but a lot of them.
Yeah.
So that's the idea behind the tactics. Like I like to have in my deck an answer to everything. So I have less odd to draw them, but I have them.
Right. Well, you have Steal It too, so no, that makes sense for sure. It's interesting that you like split your 4s with 2-2-2, so like 2 Cham, 2 Kanan, 2 Steela. Is that just because in different matchups you want a different 4-drop?
Yeah, that's it. In Sabine, Stila is really bad, I think, and Cham and Kanan are pretty great because Cham can trade anything with his 5 power body, and Kanan in the same. Like he has the restore and the force tag, so that's why I like to have them. But yeah, I mean usually of the 4-drop, there is 2 that are good in a matchup. So that's why I made the split 2-2-2.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Besides Luke, at your 4-drop or more, that's the only card that you have as a 3-of. Everything else is toolboxy. I love it. It's interesting.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of Anakin decks, like back when I was playing Anakin in set 3, like we were playing the more Voltron-y, like try to one-shot them in one turn with our leader by playing the lightsabers and bravado. I know you've played with those cards before, but they haven't always been your favorite. So what was the like reasoning behind excluding those?
The reasoning is that all the meta decks can deal pretty easily with Anakin. So usually you can flip Anakin safely. You have to take action before. And thus you don't have the opportunity like to put a saber on it, to kill a unit, use bravado, attack again. That's the reason behind that. Like in Sabine, there is a Wrecker and Power ECL Power Wrecker that can kill Anakin when he flips. The control decks are a lot of option to kill him. And like Quinlan also, he can force throw himself or ambush with Plo Koon and do a huge chunk on Anakin when he flip. So in testing, I found that I didn't use a lot these two cards. So I removed them. Like I removed Bravado and Jedi lightsaber. So it's no Voltron deck onto Anakin. That can be really strong, but I think it's not enough consistent. Yeah.
There's a lot of Voltron running around too, so people like are showing up prepared for it with like Chewbacca,
makes sense.
pilot leaders, things like that.
Yeah, and I didn't say, but entrench. It was the idea behind it because the deck is really weak into space, and with all the pilot decks running around like An Green, Sabine, it was the idea behind that. Like if you check my deck, I run almost only ground units, so entrench is the answer for the space area.
I love it. Yeah. I love entrenched. You don't have to convince me. So let's hear about your tournament experience. I mean, I'd love to hear about your prep, what it was like showing up to this major tournament with some teammates there as well. Like, how did you support each other coming into this?
Yeah, it was really great, like to prep the tournament with my teammates, because we could play the meta decks into each other. So that's really a great help to prepare that, because we knew there was going to be a lot of Kira, a lot of Sabine, a lot of An Green and Quinlan. And so if you can get a lot of reps against this deck, it's really good. And like you can see which cards can work well into a matchup, and if it do well into the other matchup, like you can add it to the deck. And doing that with teammates, having their side of the game, like it's really great. And yeah.
I like how you talk about the matchups. Something that I do is I'm almost like mentally tagging these cards based on the top of the meta, and like putting a little medallion on it in my mind for this is a Sabine card, this is this card, this is for this matchup, and then like forming the core of my deck around my deck's proactive strategy, combined with like which of these cards have the biggest cross section with the meta. And I heard you talk a bit about that with your 4-drops, where you're like, look, this set of 4-drops, I have identified that 2 of them are good in each of the top meta decks, so whatever I'm facing, 4 out of my 6 4-drops are gonna be good in that matchup. I like that like thinking that you're doing there.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah,
how did this tournament?
Yep.
How did this tournament compare to the sector? Because this was the first regional event. Like, did it feel like? And I know you went to a sector and did well. You got 26th. Like, how did that compare? Did you do anything different to prepare for this, knowing that there was going to be like 300 more people, probably more rounds of the event?
Not really. I mean, 500 or more people in a tournament, like I didn't do like different preparations. Like it's kind of the same, because like 500 people tournament is really a lot, and I don't think 300 more changed a lot of it. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
gotcha.
What was your day one like? Let's what were some of your matchups? Did any of them like really stand out at day one? And I'm also curious, as a player playing in such a huge event, what kind of expectations did you come in with? Did you at some point realize to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make day 2? Like what was this experience like during day 1 of the tournament?
Yeah, so like I said, the objective, it was to make a top 8. and of course to win. But the first objective was to make top 8 to get the tickets and the fame.
We all love that part, baby.
Yeah. But yeah, in my first day, I met Darth Vader GTL. So it's really a bad matchup for Anakin because he's faster than you. And if you saw my deck, like I don't have a lot of space unit. So I'm very vulnerable to a space swarm. But I managed to win that. In day 1, I had one loss, only one, against a Sabine. Yeah, this was a very close game. Like one of the bad part of the Sabine matchup is that the one with the initiative will a lot of times with like in testing it was a lot of time this scenario. And in this loss, I didn't had initiative, and in the third game, it was decided by Forocos. Like if it was 3 damage, I would have won, but it was 4, so it was my first loss of day 1.
Was it Sabine? Was it Sabine Data Vault? Sabine Data Vault?
Sabine Isiel.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, there was not a lot of Sabine Data Vault. Yeah. Yeah, I got 3 Sabine. Yeah, Sabine was really, it was the most represented deck in Lille. So I had I affront 3 of them in day 1. So I won 2 and lose to 1 Sabine. Yeah, I got a keyword data vault. It was a game on stream. Like you will be able to check the match when you got the link to the video. It's a nice display of the matchup. If you play Anakin, you can go check it out.
Oh, awesome! I'll put that in the description.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you managed to win that one. That seems tough.
Yeah, but if you manage to put pressure in the early game, it's really great because and Kira can flip easily because you only need like 2 power unit to kill it with Anakin. I have a charm, which is an excellent body with addition to the ramp against Kira. It's really great. I have some pillage and force throw that can discard the hand of the Kira. So if you do well, I think it's not a bad matchup. Yeah.
Yeah, so going into day 2, so I haven't done a day 2. I haven't made day 2 in a Swoot tournament yet. So like after having done that already in the last tournament, was there anything that you wanted to like do differently in terms of your day 2 preparations? Like did you go to bed earlier day 1, or did you make sure you got a good dinner day 1 after you made, like you knew you made it? Like was there any sort of preparation there that you wanted to change from the last event?
Yeah, exactly. In Milan, like it was my first day 2 and my first big tournament, so I didn't knew what to do. Like yeah, I went to bed quite late, but this time I tried to prepare better. I went to bed earlier to get a nice sleep. I eat some rice to have energy for the next day. So yeah, I think I had a better preparation for a day 2 tournament this time. Yeah.
Did you find like data?
You heard it here, folks. Oh, sorry, Jonathan, you can go.
No, go ahead.
I was like, you heard it here, folks. Get your sleep.
Absolutely. I actually want to do an entire episode on like health and wellness and how it impacts your performance in a tournament. It's not something I've been doing well personally, but just how do you prepare yourself? What should you be eating? That kind of stuff. We have an excellent team member to invite for that podcast, Reflex. So hope to get him on sometime. Did you find any data that helped you prepare for day 2? Like, were you looking at metas and were you aware of some top players that you needed to be thinking about?
Yeah, especially like the swoop racer, they were on a deck, a rogue deck, rogue because you don't see that deck often. It was Antu ECL, so yeah, I knew they had some techs in the deck like the Darksaber and Choose Side. So I made some preparation in the between day 1 and day 2, like to see my answer to that. And it was great because I faced one of the swoop racer in day 2, and I think this preparation helped me to get that win. So yeah, I think it can be good between day 1 and day 2 if there is famous people, players playing maybe a rogue deck to get familiar with the deck list, like what can be in his deck, and prepare some answer like some play line to face it. And
Yeah, I mean, deck lists weren't
thing...
public, so you just were like hearing word of mouth, like, hey, this guy's got this in his sideboard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I don't do that, but I think it will be a good idea in my next tournaments. But if you manage to finish your match earlier, to go check on the top tables and see the match that are still running, and what type of cards players are playing, to see if there is anything you need to keep in mind when you will be facing him. I didn't do that, but Junior did it.
Of course he did. I love it. Junior's our little Bothan spy going around scouting out what's going on at the top tables.
Yeah, that young man's always putting the work in.
Yeah, he said they were playing Darksaber, so I kept a confiscate in hand in my match against him, and that helped me there. So yeah, in tournaments, I think this can be useful to check the top table and not be surprised when you face him. When you face
that's a really good point.
Yeah,
because I don't think I would have expected Hantu ECL to have Darksaber. Like, you think that their deck's trying to just play a Poe that turn, right? A turn early or something. So, yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, scouting has always been like kind of a hot topic in the TCG world, because like some people are just like, let's just have open deck lists all the time, starting in, round 1. That way scouting isn't a thing that you have to do, because traditionally the teams that have more members are able to scout better because, there's more people that finish early in a round and can go see what people are playing and stuff. So like there's some interesting like philosophical thoughts on that in terms of how tournaments are run. I've always liked it just being for top 8, the open deck lists, because I want rogue decks to be able to go out there and make a run. And I think if people scout out your deck and see cards and whatever because you're playing them, then that's just going to happen. It's whatever. They don't know your lines. They just know cards. So, while it worked out for Alex, that might not always be the case where it's like, oh, maybe they play the card in a way that you don't know. Like, specifically with Darksaber, it's, you only play that card as like, I'm going to put this on my leader, or like, I'm going to put this on a big thing and I'm going to kill you with it. So that's a pretty straightforward card. But, sometimes people will play tech cards that you don't maybe you think it's for one reason and they're doing it for a completely other reason. So
Yeah, I mean, if I can stand next to the table, yeah, not really gonna stop me from watching those top table matches. I'm gonna watch it. I want to see.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I don't get to do that very often.
Yeah, you're more so watching the feature match table while casting the stream.
Or if I'm in it, I'm watching the tables next to me because I'm still playing.
Oh, that's true because you play Palpatine,
yeah.
so you're like the last to finish always.
Sorry, I just love the game. I just want to keep playing. That's all.
He plays Palpatine for the love of the game.
Yeah,
you heard it here, folks.
I just want to play more Star Wars. I don't want the game to end too soon. It's not enough.
Yeah, it's a min-max kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So you made it to Top Cut in day 2.
Yeah.
When did you know? I'm curious how intentional draws like impacted those last few rounds for you, since that's relatively new to tournament structures, and this is the biggest tournament we've had so far. So like, how did intentional draws come into play?
There was only one match that made the ID, the intentional draw, because every other players couldn't be sure to go in top 8 otherwise. So it wasn't a big thing in the top cut of this tournament.
I think that's a good result.
Something you have to keep in mind, like if you want to go top cut, maybe that all the top player will arrange an ID, and if you don't make preparation, maybe like you will be left out of the top cut because of that. I didn't do the math, but maybe this is something that people need to keep in mind in tournaments.
Yeah, I feel like with these long day 2 events, the ID stuff really only comes up if you're undefeated. Yeah, you might be able to ID your last round in certain cases where you're X1 going to the last round, but you have to not get a pair down, and everything kind of has to go your way. So it's not always going to happen.
Yeah. So let's close this out with your Top Cut match. That was on stream as well. What did you play against? How did that go?
It wasn't. This one wasn't on stream.
Oh, it was not on stream.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was a bit sad because I went against the only other Anakin player. It was Anakin Blue. Anakin Blue 30 HP base. It was really a mirror. And also it was a guy, a French player that live in the Lille area like me. So it was a bit unfortunate, but we met in top 8. So I won first game. I had the initiative. It's important in the Anakin mirror, like you can guess, because with the Anakin leader ability, you can do a positive trade on the first turn. So it's important. So first game, I had the initiative, and I could play the Sabine, which killed the unit my opponent played, and since that point, I had the broad advantage, and I could snowball hold the game. So that got me the win, and also I drew well in this game. So it was a pretty easy win, game 1 win. Second game, I made a mulligan and I didn't have T1.
Oh, no.
Turn 2, I was forced to play a tech. So that was really bad. And my opponent was a good player. So he had the broad advantage all the game. And I lost that one. And last game, I had the initiative. I had the situation was interesting because my first end I drew was like 2 Crate Dragon, 1 Redemption, 1 Removal, 1 Regional, and 1 Yoda. So I was hesitating to do a mulligan because you don't want to have like you late game units at the beginning, because maybe you will be forced to resource them or anything like that. But I decided to keep my hand because I mean, Regional and Yoda is a good opening. So yeah, I kept the end. Then he didn't play a T1, so I played like a regional. He didn't play a T1. And then he played the 3/3 shielded for 3. It's Outer Rim Outlaw, I think, the name of the
Yep.
card. It's really good in the Anakin matchup because it has a shield. So like you can't attack it with your unit. You can, but like you will just pop the shield. Yeah, so his cards allowed him to make a positive trade, like a 2-for-1. So that was really bad for me. And like I said, I had an opening with Yoda, Regional Governor, and 2 crates. And after that, I really drew poorly. I didn't draw any look. Sadly, when I played the Stilla, I saw 2 look.
Oh no!
1 Cashin, 1 tech.
Oh.
Like, and on the icing on the cake, on the cake was I whiff that Stilla. So.
Oh no, that's like the absolute worst.
Yeah.
Just need to play another Stila.
Stila put all my good cards on the bottom of my deck. Don't draw a card.
Yeah, you just need another Stila to push those back up to the top.
Yeah, that would have been good. But yeah, my opponent was really great player. He played a lot of Lorcana, so he had experience in TCG. He played really well, and nothing to have to say about it. So
yeah, he ended up coming in second, so he did really well.
Yeah.
But hey, you did really well too, man. We're all super proud of you for your top 8. That's an incredible achievement. Largest SWU tournament to date. Probably the only one that's going to rival it is Galactics. I don't think Minnesota, the regional Minnesota, is going to have more than 800 people. But, I mean, just such an incredible run. Playing the deck that you're known for playing, that you have the most reps in. You love to see that. Like, obviously, you prepared for it super hard, and you were super successful on it. So, definitely super happy for you.
Yeah.
And I think this is awesome because now you're definitely going to Galactics, right? Now you got your plane ticket. So you're coming, baby.
Yeah, I'm coming. I already had my plane ticket, so I was.
Oh, now you get a refund. There you go.
Yeah, I was already planning to go to the Galactics to meet you all and everything and play in the bigger tournament. I guess it will be.
I mean, I think you're just gonna win the whole thing now, dude. Because every time you play in a bigger tournament, you do better. So
yeah, that's the goal. Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for joining. This was great. Loved having you on. Hopefully, you caught us streaming the Chicago PQ on May 10th. If you didn't, you can go check
Boy,
that
was
out.
that fun.
Boy, was that fun as we record this on May 9th. Woo, that PQ. Ian and I ran that PQ and it went wonderfully. Everything was perfect.
Yeah.
Nothing went wrong. No tech issues. It was incredible.
The most beautiful, handsome casters of all time.
Yeah. So go check that out. Look forward to some more episodes. Thanks for joining us. Alex, thanks again.
Yeah,
we'll
sure.
see ya.
Yeah, and if you want to find out more about his Anakin deck, he has a whole write-up in our Anakin Blue channel in the Bothan Network public side. So join our Discord, do all the things, like, subscribe, thumbs up.
Yeah. Thank you,
Goodbye.
guys. See you.
Many Bothans died to bring us this information.